What a rough week. That Sunny from The View, that, she's having such a tough week because she really wants to go after Matt Gaetz, where she is forced to have to do this. If you can play this clip, Rob, before and after, and the way they do it, and then Whoopi says, all right, we'll have to go to commercial break, and we'll be back in a minute. Go ahead, Rob.
How could you nominate someone with allegations of child trafficking trafficking across state lines and having sex with a 17-year-old? My understanding, further on in the interview, they discussed the fact that once he finds out that she's 17, he stops having sex with her.
Sonny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi.
Look how excited she says to read this.
Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. That DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being brought.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
Why did she look like she was going to cry
Tom,
when she read that?
why did she have to read that?
Because of two things. First, Gaetz went hard to the hoop with his lawyers and went after ABC, and that was the best that they could get them to read. It should have been more than that. It should have been more of an apology. But Gaetz went hard to the hoop and said, no charges were filed against me. And there's a thing in media about absence of malice. Is one of the things we talk about with Will Cain. They had malice. They were absolutely mean-spirited and hateful going after Matt Gaetz on the show. And they got caught. And Gaetz went after him. The second reason they said it is because the ABC attorneys know that Trump is about to name the head of the FCC because he's president. And the head of the FCC has already said that he is going to review CBS and 60 Minutes for the way they edited a presidential candidate interview in the name of campaigning versus straight, honest, neutral news. ABC is seen down the street that the FCC is going to be coming down the street. Yeah, they're going to be upset. They're going to walk in ABC at CBS. They're going to talk to them. Yeah, we don't want that. So ABC took a step. So 2 points. One, Matt Gaetz and his attorneys got after it, PBD. And number two, there's a new sheriff in town running the FCC. They're already going after CBS, and ABC want none of that.
So here's what I want to do, Tom. Let's go right into what you wanted to talk about with MSNBC numbers, right? And a video, folks, I want to play for you with Bill O'Reilly talking about what could happen to ABC. You have to see this, the way he breaks it down, okay? You have to see it the way he breaks it down. But, Tom, why don't you first tell us some of the data you saw with MSNBC? Let me just actually set you up before you go there, because this is by far the best way to set you up. Folks, imagine you're CNN and MSNBC. You're at a point that you're okay losing to Fox. You're at a point that you're okay losing to Rogan. You're at a point that you may even okay losing to other podcasters, right? Election night, some people are putting more numbers than you are. We did that on election night. You're like, listen, those guys are amateurs. We're pros. We built the Titanic. The amateurs are building the Joe Rogan Experience, the PVD podcast, all this other stuff. But these are amateurs. But imagine you wake up one day and your producer comes to you and says, guys, what? Hallmark just beat us. Bro, what are you talking about? Hallmark just beat us. Tell me nobody's written that article yet. Bro, they wrote it already. That's bullshit. No. Hallmark? They make cards. Give them a Hallmark. Hallmark beat CNN and MSNBC in viewership last week.
No way.
Here's a supersized guide to rating in all 32 new holiday films. Can you imagine that?
Man.
How do you let Hallmark beat you? You can let a lot of people beat you. You cannot let Hallmark beat you. We're talking about practice, right? We're talking about Hallmark. We cannot be talking about Hallmark here, right? I mean, you understand what reference of the great AI. Hallmark Channel ranked as third most popular cable network on Prime and total viewership during the week of November 11th through 17th, averaging 810,000 primetime viewers and 479 daily viewers, surpassing both MSNBC and CNN according to Nielsen. This rise coincides with Hallmark's annual countdown to Christmas holiday movie lineup. Hallmark's holiday performing has reached 20.1 million unique viewers on November 19th. In other words, they're kicking CNN and MSNBC's ass. But Tom, why is this happening?
Well, words talk, numbers scream, and then Joe Scarborough cries is what works out. So very interesting stuff here. you take a look at all the cable nets, and the ratings came out for November 11th to 17th. So the week after the election. So the election week goes, the week after that, everything calms down. Everybody knows what's going on. Votes are counted. Fox had 69% of the viewership on the cable nets for the week. Think about that, Pat. Of all those cable nets, Fox had 69%, and they average 1.9 million viewers. By the way, folks, that is the highest in the 28-year history of Fox. Wow. This is the biggest week in their 28-year history.
Wow.
Would you like to know who had the lowest in their 25-year history?
Tell us.
MSNBC. Fox is the highest in 28 years. MSNBC is the lowest in 28 years. Fox was the only one over a million, and they were at 1.9 million average. ESPN was not at 1 million, but it was up in second place. Normally, ESPN's behind the news guys, right behind them. And then, yes, mighty Hallmark with Grandma Goes to Heaven and Puppies in Love, that kind of programming. They're in third place. Then MSNBC, 487,000. That was down 50% from earlier this year. Then CNN, 337,000, down 33%. By the way, CNN was 40% off Hallmark. It gets better. When you take the week of November 11, 17, the top 100 cable news telecasts, line them all up, the 100 of them, 100 cable news telecasts, and you got all the shows, right? What percent of them, Vinny, were Fox number one? I mean, of the top 100, what percent of those were Fox telecasts?
Jeez.
50%, 60%, 70%?
48%.
All 100!
Oh, man.
All 100 of the top 100 cable news telecasts for the week
Fox?
11-17 were Fox.
Damn.
MSNBC had several programs that had all-time lows, which leads us to the headline where Comcast, Brian Roberts, now watch this, Vinny. Watch this, okay? Once upon a time, they sold cable bundles, right? For about $40 to start, usually about $85, $80 to get all the channels you want, including some ESPNs and sports, right?
Yep.
Okay. Now they're selling internet for that. They're selling the pipe for $70 to $100. Like if you put the internet in your house and you went to get the fast stuff, it's like $70 to $100. And the cable nets are not profitable. So they are gathering up MSNBC, CNBC, and all of those, and they're putting them in a basket, and they're saying, will somebody adopt this child? Better yet, we'll spin it off the stock market. But the stock market is saying, yeah, but if you spin it out, where's the growth? Where's the profit? Because it's a stock. People want to invest in it. What are you going to do with that? It's probably going to go private to private equity. They want to spin those out of Comcast because they're making the money, Pat. $70 to $90 they make on
But Tom,
the
is it
internet
even
service
worth
now.
buying MSNBC today? Like there was rumors that Elon may buy MSNBC. Is it even worth, like, let's just say for us, we're a small media company.
No.
Is it worth for us buying a company like MSNBC? So we now have a cable audience as well. Would that be a beneficial strategy for a small media company like us, Valuetainment?
I think it would be for CNN because that's a great brand. You have to remember, so the answer to your question is yes, if it was something like a CNN brand. But MSNBC was a Frankenstein. MSNBC was created years and years and years ago. Do you remember when Yahoo, you just put in your zip code on the Yahoo page and it would give you movies, stories that were local, all that stuff?
Yes.
MSN had the same thing, right? Over at MSN?
Sure.
You had a Yahoo address or MSN. Microsoft sold that to NBC and they created MSNBC. Remember, MS in MSNBC stands for Microsoft. But then Microsoft got rid of its ownership in the channel and got rid of its ownership on the internet webpage. And so it's MSNBC, but they no longer say Microsoft because Microsoft's been out forever.
What if we buy
This
it
was
and-
a Frankenstein
so
and it's lived out its...
What if you buy it and you change it and it's called VT News? What if you buy it and it's a different name given to it?
Well, you would
have to get rid of the NBC and the MSN.
Or
you would have what's called slots on all the cable, like Cox, Comcast, and Hulu. You would have a slot there in the lineup, which is worth
What's
something.
that worth to us? If you have the right people.
I don't know. I mean, I think there's a real quant you could put on it because what you're describing, remember, Zaz, who's the guy at the top of Warner Brothers Discovery, he went to the Allen conference where they wear all the cool vests that say Allen and Company.
Yeah, the
and
community,
remember,
yeah.
he tried to give away CNN at the Allen conference, and there were no takers. And people were rumored that it could be as low as $1 billion. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Other people said, no, it'll go for 8 to 9 billion. And it's like, how? For what? And so this is what's going on. And then the cherry on top from the numbers, we'll go back to it, and then I'll let you comment here. The 5 beat Saturday Night Live.
Gotta love that. By the way, while we're going through this, Rob, play this clip, and then Adam, I'll come to you.
This is cataclysmic.
That is cataclysmic.
This is why you got the stories of them selling these channels.
No question about it. But watch, this is Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly ran the #1 show for 20 plus years. Stephen A. Smith, #1 in ESPN, 10, 15 years. Chris Cuomo was #1 at CNN for a few years. Love or hate these 3 guys, they've all been #1 in their companies, and they know what it is to be part of an organization that's competing in a marketplace. Watch what Bill O'Reilly said is about to happen to MSNBC and The View. Go ahead, Rob.
Comcast said, you two, we're going to have to try to mend some cliche fences, and you two are going to go in there and you're going to try to tamp it down. Because Comcast knew the next day they were going to announce that MSNBC is vapor. That is a huge meteor story.
Why is
Enormous.
it vapor? Just because they're spinning it off and putting them in the... They're spinning off a bunch of brands.
There's no spin-off.
There is. It's a spin-off company.
There's no spin-off. See, you buy the propaganda, Cuomo.
Oh, okay.
See what I mean about
I'm just saying
people?
what's being reported.
All right.
But what do you know?
Yeah, I know, but why would you believe what's being reported? You want the real story? Here
Yes,
it comes.
please.
So they're uncoupling their word, Comcast, MSNBC from NBC News. That means MSNBC has no resources at all. None. They're not going to be able to pay these people millions of dollars, Rachel Maddow, whatever she's making. NBC News is saying, we don't want you around. Why? Because NBC News' numbers, Lester Holt and the Today Show, are catastrophe because half the country equates NBC News with MSNBC, and they won't watch.
Exactly.
So NBC is desperately trying to save the mothership of information, and they have to throw MSNBC overboard. They're not putting anything into MSNBC. They want to sell it. So where's Georgie Soros now? Georgie's buying radio stations. Oh, yeah. You can get MSNBC for nothing. They'll give it to you. They don't want any more of this. Why? Because it's hateful. Not because it's so far left. The whole NBC Comcast hierarchy is far left. But it's hateful. They hate Trump. They hate people who vote for Trump. Everybody knows that. And you know what's next? The View. ABC News is going to have to cut ties with The View.
Yes.
And you saw that today or yesterday when Sonny Hostin had to read a legal statement in the middle of a segment. The lawyers got Whoopi Goldberg's ear, and it said, we're bringing a statement in on a teleprompter. She reads it.
Wow.
So it is over for these far left networks. Done, never coming back. Dracula's stake in the heart. Who benefits? News Nation may, but CNN, which is on the ropes too, will probably get some MSNBC viewers.
Wow.
There you go.
Drop. Listen.
What do you think of that?
Well, I'm certainly not going to accuse him of not making sense.
I didn't see that part. That's hilarious. That's awesome.
I'm certainly not going to accuse him of not making sense.
That's a great shirt.
What a great line.
Shout out to Stephen A. Smith.
Oh,
By the way, how
man.
cool is it to see Stephen A. Smith and Chris Cuomo? The last time I saw them together, we were having dinner with the two of them.
Yeah.
PBD, myself, Tom. I think you were out of town at that point, Vinny. But certainly Bill O'Reilly's making a lot of sense. Just rapid fire here real quick. Starting with The View, where we started this segment. Sonny Hostin, she should probably change her name to Sonny Hostage, because basically she's looking like she's reading a hostage video, not having to deal with her TDS syndrome live in effect, because her lawyers or legal representatives were like, yeah, you're going to have to basically tell the truth right here. I swear that Matt Gaetz, this is what happened to him. She looked completely uncomfortable right there. So what we're about to see in all the liberal leftist media is the fallout of TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. So when you call Trump Nazi and fascist and Hitler for years and years and years and years, and then he wins, what recourse do you then have? So who's had meetings with Trump in the last week or two? Joe Biden, Mika Brzezinski, Joe Scarborough. So when you're basically saying this is Hitler, and then you go have a meeting with him, seems like Hitler's getting a lot of meetings. So which one is it? Even when Kamala took off remember her like sort of concession speech that happened the next day? After calling Trump Hitler and Nazis, do you know what she said? She gets on stage, she goes, guys, everything's gonna be okay. I promise you, everything's gonna be okay. You called him Hitler. So the reality is the average American out there is basically saying, yeah, we're not buying any of this BS. And now that Joe Scarborough is sort of having to sort of kiss the ring of Trump to remain relevant, last point with CNN, do you remember when Jeff Zucker got their highest ratings? He would do things like, Trump's about to take the podium. They would show the podium on air for an hour before he even took the podium, before Trump would even speak.
And give opinion. While we're waiting for the president.
While we're waiting for Trump to walk to the podium, people would be sitting there with bated breath being like, oh, he's about to come to the podium. MSNBC might be spun off and sold. CNF, how did they describe CNN? On their last left, on their last leg,
on the ropes,
left, on the ropes.
Well, I thought about this, Pat. I mean, if we buy MSNBC, we don't have to change the lettering. It'll stand for massive success, noble capitalism. We don't have to change nothing. But I wrote that down really quick. But if this is in regard to the Matt Gaetz thing, because I know we want to move on. Let's just all understand. A woman told Kyle Griffin at MSNBC, the ethics committee, she told earlier this year that he had sex with a minor woman. She testified the committee that she witnessed him having sex with a minor at a house party in Orlando in 2017. But I'm like, really? So this grown woman was watching Matt Gaetz have sex with a 17-year-old, and it took her 7 years, Tom, to come forward with this story. All of a sudden, it reminds me of
who told it? Who said this?
It was so a woman told Kyle Griffin, executive producer at MSNBC, at the ethics committee earlier this year that Matt Gaetz had sex. That was that.
Stop it.
Oh yeah. And so and remember this, guys. It's believe all women unless those women vote Republican. Same thing with Bill Clinton and Juanita Broderick, Biden with Tara Reid, and what Brett Kavanaugh. Out of nowhere, the guy's about to be brought into the Supreme Court. Then all of a sudden, Christy Blasey Ford comes out of nowhere and is like, oh yeah, in high school in a party. And this guy, they didn't realize he was going to be a nerd, and he had a calendar and blogged everything he did every single day for every summer as a kid. It's just such hypocrisy. And by the Tom, they didn't go forward with the Matt Gaetz thing, right? They stopped. They didn't want to continue because there was no.
The investigation stopped.
It stopped.
The department and the DOJ closed it. Look, there's two things here. One is talking about Matt Gaetz, but we'll close the book on it. Even MSNBC.
I want to play this Holly clip until we close on it. Rob, play this Holly clip.
Okay. What's the word in the Senate about these confirmations?
Well, I think the word ought to be, Jesse, that every single one of these nominees needs to have a confirmation hearing as quickly as possible. My plan is to support all of them, and I would just say to my Senate colleagues, listen, let these guys testify. Give them a shot. I know some of these Senate GOP folks are saying, oh, I've got concerns. That's what a hearing is for. Don't go out and bash these people until you've at least allowed them to make their case. And listen, I mean, I think they've got momentum. I thought the meeting today with Gaetz went great, and it's full steam ahead.
So some of these guys, even not having a hearing, maybe not even met Matt Gaetz, they're just no's?
You know, I've read about my colleagues, some of them here in the Senate, who say we've got deep concerns. Of course, I'm reading all of the slander and garbage in the press about Gaetz and others, and this is really approaching Kavanaugh proportions. They're trying to do to him what they did to Kavanaugh. And the answer to that is let the guy speak. He deserves to be able to address this himself. He deserves to be able to lay out his vision and the president's vision for the DOJ. And I look forward to that. And listen, as I said to President Trump, I'm going to help in whatever way I can to get the president the cabinet that he wants and deserves.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, he's like, hey, if you got something, go ahead. Let's hear what you have to say. Tom, go ahead and finish your thought. You were going to say something.
No, what I was going to say is that, you know, and Josh Hawley was correctly pointing out all the hate and slander that's in the press. And you even had Mike Barnicle of MSNBC saying, you know what? I don't know how we make ourselves relevant again. And he believes it's technology because 40% of adults under 30 say get their news from social media over traditional sources. And what they don't get is that the trust in the media is gone. And so I don't know how we make ourselves relevant again. I think he's right. And it's as you used to say, it's Control-Alt-Delete, man. IPL time.
But you know what's crazy about what's happening with Trump right now? It's actually crazy.
He's winning.
He's winning for
on
sure.
all cylinders.
But what was his downfall is essentially the same reason for his revival and renaissance. What do I mean? Without COVID, Trump would have probably been reelected in 2020. Would you agree with that, guys?
Yep.
But because of COVID and the, I guess, mishandling of COVID, nobody knew what was going on.
Weird timing.
That's the reason that Trump was not reelected. But because of COVID, because it had to expose everything from everyone, nobody could hide anything anymore. Everything, every objective, every policy, every situation that you basically were sort of behind closed doors, you know, the Wizard of Oz thing, it's all been exposed. So now 4 years later after COVID, now this is the reality of Trump's survival. What does MLK once say? He says, the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Short term, Trump got screwed.
Yeah.
But long term, this is basically cementing his legacy.
Yeah, but
we'll see what he does
but
in
in
the next
regard
4
to
years.
this, though, the perfect sense that we're making, and you I think you sent it to us in the group chat. Now, I mean, X played a huge part in it. These people are finished. It took 8 years for the world to see it, and X played the biggest role in this. I think the biggest thing, because Pat, we have that video, the CNN's shocking video. Remember the guy that did all the charts for all the Rob? You have that clip? Pat, did you see this one? I think you sent it to me. It's where the guy that normally did all the demographic charts, and this guy right here stands next to him.
This is recent?
This is recent.
Every Sunday he did the recap. It kept getting worse.
Let's see it, Rob.
So one of the big reasons he bought Twitter/X is because he wanted to make it his own platform, remake it in his own image. And I think this really gets at it. Look at this. The party ID among those who regularly use X/Twitter for news. Back in 2022, 65% of those who regularly use Twitter/X for news were Democrats. Just 31% were Republicans. Look at where we are today. Just a completely different picture.
50,
now it's
50.
basically split between Democrats at 48%,
I love it.
Republicans at 47%. And what I should note, Mr. Berman, is this new overall makeup matches the overall electorate far better. And more than that, more than that, John, look at where Mr. Musk's net worth is today versus where it was just 2 months ago. He is the richest man in the world by far. 2 months ago, look at this. His net worth was $252 billion. Look at where we are today.
Just 2 months ago, he didn't have anything.
By far the richest man ever to be on this planet.
You know what I say all the time?
He's not $252
billion ain't what it used to be.
It's not.
I think Vinny brings a massive point here. If not for Elon Musk,
it's over.
Where would he be right now? The Twitter files wouldn't have ever happened. Everything wouldn't be exposed. If Elon Musk didn't basically put his whole career on the line, his reputation, and basically align with Trump, there's a good chance
I agree.
Trump would not be reelected.
It's that 42, $44 billion was the most
access to
important
information.
transaction
It's action to
of the last 2 years.
Exactly. It's access to information that now we all get to see. And I hope not to break sad news because I know we want to move on. Eva Longorio's moving out of the United States. Ellen DeGeneres. Don't get sad. Wow. She's moving to England because they can't take it. And I just want to show everybody at home.
Oh, that'll go well.
Yeah, when you have that hate, Rob, and I know you know the photos I want to show. When you have that hate in your heart, it exudes and it ruins you. I want to show you a really quick photo of Rosie O'Donnell before Trump derangement syndrome. Look at what she used to look like. That's Rosie O'Donnell. Then Trump, the hate, the Hitler, the anger. What does she look like right now? That's what happens.
Are you joking?
That's what happens when you have hate.
That's not the same person.
That's her. I took a screenshot.
That's her grandma.
No, that's Rosie. That's Rosie O'Donnell, angry, bitter every day, and that's what it does to your soul. Wow. Have love in your heart, guys. Stop watching these evil networks because that's what's going to happen.
She never was attractive. I think that was the best possible picture you've ever found. Listen, Vinny, you've been accused of calling women pigs, slobs, dogs, fat cows.
Hold on. Only Rosie O'Donnell.
Only Rosie O'Donnell. I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys.
Rosie.
Sorry, do that picture one more time. Do it one more time. Honestly, next time you do that, you have to give some kind of, don't you like when they say like viewership?
Okay, guys, I'm so sorry.
Don't do that next time.
I'm sorry.
Like
I apologize.
Excuse me, Vinny.
That's right.
Don't bring that sloppy dog
just
around
like
me.
Sonny has to apologize, you have go ahead.
Okay, wait.
The following may be disturbing.
Let him do it. He knows how to do it.
Today, about 30 seconds ago, I didn't warn you guys about that photo. And I apologize.
Our legal texted me. You got to do it right now.
My
He's got to do
bad.
it right now.
My
It's just
bad.
not appropriate because
Yeah.
we love our audience. Forgive us,
Sick
folks.
puppy, Vinny.
Sorry.
We will keep getting better. We will keep getting better. And
Rosie,
we're
we love
committed
you.
to it.
You're a great, gorgeous person.
Even this guy here, we are excited about the Christmas season being here. The former presidential candidate that was running, Kamala, said the following thing about Christmas, and I want to tell you what happened with this hat here. Rob, play this clip.
How dare we speak Merry Christmas?
Oh, my God.
How dare we?
Wow.
Well, guess what? We're saying Merry Christmas again.
For this Christmas season, Valuetainment, we sat there, our team agreed, we're going to come out with Merry Christmas gear. Bold. FYI, we launched these 3 hats, okay, last week. These 3 hats, limited numbers that we launched, just to see how the market was going to react to it. Do you know which one sold out within seconds? This was gone in no time. There were people that bought 10 of these at a time, okay? This was gone. Right now, we have 16, 17 of these left. If nothing's been ordered right now, they can order. Rob, if you can go to vtmerch.com, specifically the Christmas season gear, if you can go there, there's some interesting scripture in the middle of these hats. For those of you that are going to church, you're going to like the scripture that's in here. If you order it, you'll see it. We have a ton of Christmas gear. Future looks bright, Christmas gear. Yesterday, I was in Orlando, walking around, looking at a couple events to possibly do an event in the future. And you know what was amazing? I saw folks wearing the Valuetainment Future Looks Bright gear, running up, PBD, Future Looks Bright. I loved taking pictures, videos with them. I have in my phone right now probably 100 pictures of folks that are posting Valuetainment gear, Future Looks Bright, with kids, with families, voting, all of it. Anybody that places an order right now of the Christmas gear, you will get a free, ornament sent to you. So during Christmas, on your tree, you will have one of the best Christmas trees in the world because it's going to have the Future Looks Bright red ornament on it. So go place your gear, order specifically if you want to get one of these because this one's flying. You got the ugly sweaters. You got also some stuff for your kids, babies as well, if you want to get them a onesie. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.